The Earth shook violently on Friday as a massive 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck the central region of Myanmar, sending shockwaves across neighboring Thailand and even reaching parts of China. The tremors were felt in many countries, but the most severe damage occurred near the epicenter in Mandalay, Myanmar's second-largest city. At midday, the ground beneath cities and towns cracked open and buildings, some of them centuries old, fell into ruin, trapping thousands inside. As aftershocks continued to shake the region, rescue workers, civilians, and international aid organizations began scrambling to locate survivors and provide assistance in the wake of one of the deadliest earthquakes in the region in decades. In Myanmar, the situation has become dire. As the day went on, reports began flooding in from Mandalay and surrounding areas. At least 144 people were confirmed dead, with over 700 more injured. Rescue operations are ongoing, but with each hour that passes, it becomes more apparent that the toll will rise. The city of Mandalay is left in chaos, and authorities are struggling to maintain control and organize relief efforts. The earthquake left large cracks in roads, collapsed bridges, and even damaged a hospital. Eyewitnesses from Mandalay have shared harrowing accounts of the devastation, describing scenes of buildings crashing to the ground, with debris scattering across the streets. "We all ran out of the house as everything started shaking," one resident recalled. "Everyone in my town is out on the road, and no one dares to go back inside." The emotional toll on the population is hard to measure. With many already living in hardship, this disaster has compounded their struggles. The situation is particularly dire in areas near Naypyidaw, Myanmar's purpose-built capital. The government has reported damage to critical infrastructure, including a large hospital with 1,000 beds. Rescue teams like those from the Mo Sadanar charity group have already recovered at least 60 bodies from monasteries and buildings in nearby Myanmar. But this is only the beginning of the recovery effort. The damage in towns surrounding Mandalay is extensive, with entire neighborhoods leveled to the ground. In Amrapura, a historic city near Mandalay, rescue workers have found the bodies of 30 people trapped under the rubble of collapsed apartment blocks. One worker described a scene as a collapsed city, noting that nearly a fifth of the buildings in the area had been destroyed. Despite the dire conditions, rescue teams are continuing their efforts, but they are hampered by a lack of resources. Without enough manpower or heavy equipment, many are still trapped, unable to be reached. The Myanmar military junta, which has been in power since a 2021 coup, issued a rare appeal for international assistance. Junta leader Min Aung Hlaing acknowledged the scale of the disaster, confirming that the death toll was expected to rise and stating that the country would welcome help from any nation or organization willing to offer it. This unusual call for aid from a government known for its isolationism signals the gravity of the situation. However, even as international organizations prepare to send assistance, there are concerns about access to affected areas, given the country's ongoing political turmoil and communication restrictions. With much of the country embroiled in a civil war, it is still unclear how effectively aid can be distributed to all the affected regions, particularly in areas controlled by anti-junta militias. Meanwhile, across the border in Thailand, the earthquake's impact was felt in Bangkok, where an unfinished high-rise construction project collapsed, trapping dozens of workers inside. Authorities confirmed at least 6 deaths from the building's collapse, and rescue operations continue with drones, sniffer dogs, and search teams combing the wreckage for survivors. The Thai capital, a city of more than 17 million people, had never experienced an earthquake of this magnitude before, and the tremors caused widespread panic among the population. In a busy shopping mall, shoppers were jolted from their seats as the building swayed violently. One British tourist, who had been watching a film at the time, thought the shaking was part of the movie's special effects. It wasn't until her Taiwanese friend insisted it was an earthquake that she fled the building, meeting security personnel evacuating others in the hallway. Across the city, people were forced to evacuate buildings and many shops closed, leaving the streets filled with anxious residents. As night falls, rescue teams in Bangkok continue their efforts, but the situation is still evolving. The Thai government has declared a state of emergency, and Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has called for an emergency meeting to assess the full impact of the earthquake. The situation remains fluid, and authorities are bracing for the possibility of more aftershocks. In the meantime, rescue operations are underway in the collapsed high-rise and at other affected sites. Despite the ongoing challenges, one resident, Alex McGregor, a Scottish expat, described the mood in his neighborhood as remarkably calm. As the tremors subsided, people in his area, knowing there might be aftershocks, simply sat outside on the streets, working on their laptops and talking quietly. His experience highlights the resilience of the Thai people, even in the face of such a powerful natural disaster. In addition to the efforts of local authorities, international aid organizations have begun mobilizing to provide assistance. The United Nations has already allocated funds for emergency relief in Myanmar, while the World Health Organization has deployed medical teams and supplies. The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, has also confirmed that it will send teams to Thailand to assist in the recovery efforts. Foreign governments, including the European Union, France, and the UK, have all expressed their willingness to offer aid. Even former U.S. President Donald Trump has stated that his administration would help, adding that he had spoken with officials in Myanmar about providing assistance. The European Union, through its chief Ursula von der Leyen, has made it clear that the bloc stands ready to support the relief effort despite Myanmar's political isolation. Meanwhile, humanitarian concerns are mounting, particularly around the condition of the country's large-scale infrastructure. The Red Cross has voiced concerns about the status of major dams in the region, warning that they could be compromised by the damage caused by the earthquake. As these concerns grow, international aid organizations are working tirelessly to assess the situation and provide the necessary relief. The International Federation of the Red Cross, for example, is focusing on addressing the immediate needs of those who have lost everything, providing both medical and material assistance where possible. But logistical challenges remain high. With many roads and bridges destroyed, reaching remote areas of Myanmar, especially those caught in the ongoing civil war, will be a major obstacle. Back in China, the earthquake's impact was also felt in Yunnan and Sichuan provinces, where the tremors caused injuries and damage to buildings in cities near the Myanmar border. In Rueli, a city just across from Myanmar, reports indicate that debris littered the streets and people were seen being rushed to ambulances. In the city of Mongshur, the shaking was so intense that people were unable to stand, and many sought shelter in safer areas. As the night unfolds, the full scale of the devastation is still being realized. Rescue operations are ongoing, and the death toll continues to rise. The destruction is far-reaching, affecting not only the infrastructure of these nations, but also the lives of the people who call them home. The earthquake has left an indelible mark on Myanmar, Thailand, and China, and the efforts to rebuild and recover will likely take years. This tragedy underscores the resilience of the people affected by it, as well as the global community's commitment to providing assistance in times of crisis. As the world watches the aftermath unfold, the coming days will reveal just how much effort is required to heal these countries and rebuild what has been lost. But for now, the focus remains on searching for survivors, providing aid, and supporting those who have lost so much.